Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well. I am Vandana Mohtere, your host for the podcast series brought to you by Industry Inspire Talks. Talking about podcast series, it is a series where we bring in inspiring industry leaders to share their experience and their journeys with you all. Today we have a wonderful guest with us, Miss Vani Sengupta. Here's a little bit about her. Miss Vani is a director of human resources at the Westin Chennai, a skilled and a dynamic HR professional with over 22 years of progressive experience in human resources management and training within the hotel industry. She has a master's degree in human resource management and possesses hands on exposure to all human resources functions in various five-star deluxe hotels. She is a president of Tamil Nadu WICCI Hospitality and Tourism Council and has been a recipient of the top 101 HR Minds in India award by the World HRD Congress, to name a few. She is a truly dynamic and a positive leader, and it's a delight to have her on our show today. The interview consists of two parts. The first part is about Ms. Sengupta's career journey, how it was when she started her journey to where she is now. We'll also talk about all the challenges that she faced and what was the mindset that she required to have to get to where she is at today. Part 2 consists of how her life is now and how her typical workday looks like. We'll also talk about the various trends in the hospitality industry, especially how things have changed after the COVID, in the pandemic of COVID, and what the world looks like post COVID era. So make sure that you watch both the parts and take immense value from both of those episodes. So why wait? Let's dive straight into it. Hello, Miss Vani. We welcome you to this amazing episode of Industry Inspire Talks. It's a
Thank you, Vandana. Thank you. Privileged to be here.
It's a privilege to have you as our guest today. And you look beautiful.
I'm excited.
So good to have you. So good to have you. And I'm sure our viewers are going to learn heaps and loads from this interview. So let's dive straight into it. How about Miss Vani? Let's start with how it was for you when you started on your career journey.
Well, a little about me. So I'm from the small town Coimbatore, and I come from a very conservative Tambram family, where kids went into engineering and medical colleges or became chartered accountants. But the rebel I was, I said no. I would like to get into hospitality. So I completed my master's in human resources, and I did my last part of the internship during my program at Taj Residency in Cochin, and that's where the first connect with hospitality happened. So when I came back after completing my course back to Coimbatore, there was this first property that was Coimbatore's first five-star hotel that opened, and it was in the pre-opening stages. So I went knocking at their doors to apply for an opening there. There was no HR department then; it was still called personal department. So I joined there as a personal assistant, and my counterparts joined other industries, and their earnings were far higher than mine. But somehow I liked the glamour part of the hospitality industry, and that's how I first got attracted. And when I came home with the offer, two people were unhappy. My parents first, they were not very excited that I'm getting into the hotel line. And two was my household help. So my first salary was 1,500 rupees. This was in 1996. And my maid said, what is this? After earning, studying post-graduation, you're getting 1,500 rupees as a salary. I work in 3 houses and I get 1,800. You're not going to take up this job. So that is how it started. But for me, money has never been the attractive feature. I have enjoyed doing what I was doing. And in HR, you're the first point of contact for an associate getting into the property. So you feel responsible that you're going to set up the culture of the place and you're going to make them imbibe the culture of the hotel. And that's a huge responsibility. And I enjoyed the feel that, they would have to go back past you and then get into their respective departments. So that's how my journey started in the year 1996 as a personal assistant with the residency. The residency is a homegrown brand of Tamil Nadu. They have around 5 hotels. In 1996, it was still a 4-star hotel, not even 5-star. But today, the hotel is reclassified as a 5-star. So after getting into the personal department, I realized that I had a fetish for training. And the then training manager, he moved on. So I asked my GM that whether I could take on his role. And I'm not from the hotel management school. So I was said, no, you would have to first learn, the operations of all the departments before you actually start training. So I did that. I spent around 6 months moving from one operation department to the other, understanding, how it is to be facing the guest. And what would be the training aspects. And then I plunged into training. So it is in that hotel that I met my better half. He was a restaurant manager in that property. And within no time, we got married, a perfect marriage of 2 states. And we remained, great support for each other at work. At home also, but more at work. And by the time we realized it was 10 years, I had my son, and we grew level by level in that hotel. The hotel took care of us. We gave back, and it was a perfect story. My husband was soon to become the general manager of that property, and I was supposed to take on the group training role of the entire residency group. But then suddenly it dawned on us that we haven't seen 5-star yet, or we haven't been a part of the international chain. And that's what is the dream of all hoteliers, to get to be a part of a 5-star property. So then we woke up, we shook ourselves out of our comfort zone, and both of us got an opportunity in Goa, the Intercontinental Grand Goa Resort. So we went always together. It was like hire one, get the other one free. So when we moved to Goa, we moved from a small town, Coimbatore, to happening place, Goa. It was a cultural shock basically for us. While my husband moved on the similar position as a food and beverage manager, they said, we can't give you training manager because you haven't worked for a brand. So we give you only assistant training manager. So despite 10 years of experience in hardcore training, and I was like one of the finest training managers on soft skills, I didn't have an option, because in Goa the hotels are all far spread, and you cannot husband and wife, better to work in one property than spend your time traveling from one end of the city to the other. So I took it up as I joined the hotel as the assistant training manager. But I think my biggest win has been getting the position of a training manager in just 3 months. And I think in my entire career, that has been my biggest win, of proving to them that it doesn't matter from where you are, but if you have your stuff in place, if you're good, you're good. And I'm glad they recognized the work that I did for them. So we were there for around 2.5 years until both of us got an opportunity to go to London. And again, it's a dream for all hoteliers to do one stint abroad. So we joined a Holiday Inn property that was again a pre-opening property in London. Today the hotel is Crown Plaza. Those days it was still a Holiday Inn. So my husband joined there as a general manager. And ironically, it was in London that I got back to human resources. I became the HR and training manager of that property. Yeah. So
cool.
It was a beautiful 3 years. Absolutely. And I have always been wanting to get back to HR. But somehow, maybe it was a taboo that, women are not strong enough to lead human resources. But today, the idea has changed, but then back then it was still strongly felt that women may be suited for training profile, but may not be for to lead a human resources department. But thanks to the management at Holiday Inn, I got that opportunity there. And after a 2.5 year stint, due to family reasons, we had to come back to India. And so when we got back, I had to take a small sabbatical because my son was by then, used to the English way of schooling and was finding it very difficult to adapt to Indian schools. So I took a short break to help him settle down. And then I joined the Radisson Blue property in Chennai, which is again a pre-opening property. So I've had 3 pre-opening stints in my career span. Again, I'm very thankful to that management because despite me having, been cut off from HR, they gave me the opportunity to join them as a HR and training manager.
Wonderful.
So I worked with them for 4 years. And then got called by the Westin Hotel in Chennai. So moved here, and here I am after 23 years sitting as Director of Human Resources. Yeah.
Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful journey of highs and lows, but constant passion and determination, Miss Vani. What I can see from what you just shared, you have this. You exhiberate that, the passion to serve people, to be that, to be there for them, to make it happen, make a difference in their lives, and to be there. It's a skill. It's a skill, as you said. It's a skill. It's not something that everyone has, and it's not something that everyone realizes. But for you, right in the beginning, right at the start of your career, you knew that this is what you wanted to do, and you stayed on path. No matter what the salary was, no matter what even your mate said to you, you stayed on path and you continued doing what really called to you. And 23 years later, here you are, and what a journey. You did actually cross through. You met your sweetheart, you got married. As they say, everything happens for a reason, nothing goes for a loss. So
had I wanted more salary and gone elsewhere, I wouldn't have got the family that I have now.
Yeah.
So yes, everything happens for a reason, and I'm so glad I stuck to it. And the same dad who wasn't very happy with me getting into the hotel, he used to keep telling me that the bank exam is coming, because my sister had by then gotten to Ames at Grimley's. So she was with an international bank, and my dad felt, wow, international bank is better than hotel. But I had to convince him, Dad, I'm not going to be standing in front of the guests. I'm going to be behind the scenes. But today, I can tell you, Vandana, Proudest is my dad.
Oh, wow.
That's
so good.
He tells everyone, if you want somebody to help you with the job, just call my daughter, she can. So,
wow, that's such a blessing to be able to witness that. And again, it takes persistence on your part to be able to convince him and still go on doing because there's a lot of times we do face family pressures on selecting our career path. Now, talking about pressure, what are the kind of challenges that you did face in your journey?
The first challenge, I think, was the mindset that women can't lead personal department, because back then the workforce was different. They felt, the unions were higher, and in those years, it was the Tajes, the Oberois, which were predominantly there. And all these hotels were, they had a very strong union. So when presidency came up, they always had it in them. They want to make the hotel non-unionized, and they wanted somebody who could control the workforce. Okay. And maybe they felt that at that time, maybe I wasn't ready, so that was the first challenge. Because today, in today's scenario, if you see, one person grows to become a HOD in say 8 to 10 years, easy. But it took me 19 years to get there, to get the designation of a DHR. So that, I could have got it quicker, but maybe options were fewer when I was starting my journey. That was the biggest challenge that I felt, that people didn't accept a girl in that position. Two, I'm a very positive person, so I don't look at this is an obstacle. For me, I always look around how I can go around it and work my way forward. So obstacle as such, I haven't actually felt. I've had great support from my work team, as well as my parents and my in-laws. If I hadn't had their support, maybe I would have, taken a break, or, would have ended up somewhere else, would not have been where I am. But the support that I've got from all my workplaces and the support from home has actually helped me to propel in my career. So challenges have not been many. But for women, Vandana, in the hospitality line, sometimes they feel that they are being pushed down or not considered on par with men. Well, I will say it all depends on us. How we talk to people, how we deal with people, how our interpersonal relationship with the other person talks a lot about us. If we kind of showcase ourselves as a weakling, you become a weakling. If you showcase yourself as a too boisterous person with a heavy ego, people will not support you. So you need to be able to draw that line and get people to work alongside, instead of trying to act either higher than them or lower than them. So it has worked for me, and I hope this strategy kind of works for the others as well.
What a beautiful share again, Ms. Vani. Thank you so much for sharing that. And what you rightly pointed out, it's the mindset. It's the mindset that you have, and the attitude, which we can witness right now. You're full of positivity. So that helps, because when faced with a challenge, how we look at it is what makes all the difference. So even though you knew that women were not acceptable or not promoted as such in that role, you kept being there, you kept doing what was needed. And as you said, you interacted and you didn't give up on what you wanted to do. And that's what created more opportunities for you. So that's a wonderful share for our audience today, that you need to first believe, and then others will believe alongside with you.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So moving on to our next question now. Despite all the challenges, as we just discussed, you kept moving on with grit and determination. So what you mentioned, it's the mindset, but what would you say was the key mindset strategy that you kept with you?
Here, I just like to highlight a little about where I come from. So my parents were both working parents. So it's my sister and I have an older sister. So both of us grow to become fiercely independent. Mom she was working as a nurse. So she would have her shift start at 7 o'clock in the morning. So she would leave home by 6:15, 6:30. So we got to, cooking very early in life. And we didn't have a maid for many, many years. So we did, the house chores on our own. We never depended on anybody for support. So also I've seen my mom especially. So sometimes she was posted to another city. So we were in Coimbatore. She was posted to Tirupur, and she would take the bus at 5 o'clock in the morning for a 7 o'clock shift to go to Tirupur and come back. And still she would be gung-ho about, doing everything in the house. And that was inspiration for me, that, if she can do it, I can do it too. And always, women somewhere, they feel that we have an option to not work. When we want, we can say quits and we can, stay at home. But I feel, no, women should not have that option. We should be like men. If you want to be treated on par with men, be like men. Do men have the choice of sitting at home? No, society would not accept them, right? So why should we, take that step? Yes, you need to have your support system in place. When you're having a child, when you're during your wedding time. Yes, you may have health issues, but building that strong support system and making your mind strong that the job is important. Come what may, you will be in a job. You will not give up.
So
you will never give up. So that has been what I have been, kind of advocating to all my, women workforce who have been with me, that never at any point of time, say there may be issues at work, and the easiest option is to resign. Because we know women can sit at home. It's okay to be women. But then you are becoming a weakling. You're showcasing yourself as, and that becomes your weakness. And tomorrow, if there's another issue in the next organization, you would kind of state the same reason and call it quits. Don't call it quits. Come what may, fight it out. And the job gives you a lot of, identity. It gives you financial independence. And I think women need that. And once you have a job, I think you are far more confident than a person who doesn't. You don't have to depend on anybody. So yes, having the job is crucial for every woman. Don't call it quits.
Wow, that's another powerful share coming from you, Miss Vani. And what a power-packed message. When our language shapes our world in a way, so when we start thinking of it as an option, as you rightly mentioned, suddenly our whole attitude towards it goes like it's an option. And what you mentioned about, getting that inspiration from your parents. So it also depends on how you were observing them. So it goes a long way to show about who you are as a person, because we do pick the traits that attract us. So looking at and picking traits that really would matter and build a better life for you is what we need to focus on again. And what you shared was that you got the work done early in the morning, which shows that you had a structure in place. And as you mentioned, if the structure and the systems are all taken care of, the tasks are better taken care of, which gives us the leeway of doing rest of the things and going about doing our work just as a man would do. So yeah, as a lot of women do think that they're divided between two different worlds. They have to do two different things. They cannot let go of one responsibility over the other. While all of that is true, all of that exists. It exists for both the partners, not just for us as women. And yeah, I mean, if we want to be treated as equals, we better start considering ourselves as equals too.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That's a really powerful share.
I also have to add, my dad, so mom would just start the initial stage of cooking, and then she would leave to office, and dad would finish it up. He would cook. So I've seen them sharing chores, and both of them are self-made. I mean, they have not come with ancestral wealth. So they have been my biggest inspiration, that, and they worked till retirement. Both of them worked. They've had health issues, come out of it, still work. So this is what I advocate to, all women, that whatever job, can be a small job, but keep the job on. It keeps your mind active. I do a lot of things, from morning to evening. My day is jam-packed, but even at night, at 11 o'clock, somehow that energy will still be there, because you want to do it. You're not being compelled to do it. You want to do it yourself. So I think we're all capable. Women can multitask a lot, better than men. So being busy, yourself active, it actually keeps you as a vibrant person.
So true again. And it's all about the intent, as you just mentioned, that because you want to do the task, you feel that energy, you feel that, I want to do more, I want to deliver more, I want to keep doing this. And it's not about paid or unpaid. I feel all of us are capable of, making a difference and sharing some of our own gifts with the world. So right. For all of the viewers, if in case, you have housewives around you, or you are one of them, it doesn't mean that, you have to go about doing like a job in the traditional sense, but just going right. out and contributing, because there's so much that each of us can contribute. So that's again another wonderful share. And support of the family is such key, like what you explained from your parents, then both of them supporting each other. That's so beautiful. And that's again something I believe that we as women also need to provide that space to receive the support. Absolutely. At times we just want to do everything ourselves, or we think that we have to do ourselves. If we want to involve others, we have to take that first step of,
Sometimes
inviting.
just ask, Sometimes
Absolutely.
you think, it is your chore, you need to do it, but maybe you're not, in pink of health that day.
Yeah.
So those days, just ask. And you should get it. If you stop asking, it is taken for granted that, you're going to handle it. Yeah. So sometimes you need to open your mouth and
ask. That's another key takeaway for our audience. Just ask. It might be as simple as just asking about it, and whatever is the response, and then you have the option of responding to it in your own way. But if you don't ask, you'll never find out. Wonderful. I'm loving this conversation. All right, moving on to the next question. Now, what would you say has been the role of your education in your entire career?
Wow. Okay. So, as I told you, I'm from a conservative Tamgram family where, education was very important. Doing a double degree was like compulsory. No, you didn't have an option out of it. So I did my graduation in maths and physics. It's got nothing to do with what I'm doing now. And I've forgotten my maths and physics. But we were like science students. I mean, we had to, pursue something in science. But then thankfully in my post-graduation, I realized if I do something, a PG in maths or physics, I will end up as a lecturer somewhere, and that's not what I want to do. And then this course popped up. It said Masters in Social Work. And I was like, what is social work? It wasn't very popular then. So social work has got 2 specializations. We have psychology specialization and human resources specialization. So today this course is called MA in Human Resources. In those days it was still called MSW, Masters in Social Work. So the college principal, he just said that I think you should take this up because the future is going to be women in HR. And I thought, he was joking. I didn't even know what HR was, because HR was a term that was just, kind of coming up then. I wanted to do something a little more fancy. I wanted to get into mass communication. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get a slot. So the principal said, well, you continue in MSW, and when there is a fallout in mass communication, I will move you over there, which never happened. But this 2 years course, it's a beautiful course, and it gives you a lot of opportunity to have a reality connect with people from different strata. So you have a field work where you would go to a juvenile home, you will go to a old age center, you will go to the prison. So it was all about rehabilitation of people and how you could help people in different stratas. So this course actually kind of was an eye opener. So I, as a person, I'm a giver. Giving back is very synonymous with me, and it's been there from a child, be it for a human or an animal. It's always first there, and then I take care of myself. So this course actually, kind of gave that meaning of giving back, the true meaning of giving back. So in human resources also, the most satisfying part is when you hire somebody who is not actually hireable, but they have, they have a very positive attitude and they want to do it, they want to do big, but they don't have maybe the skill set to support them or the education to support them. And you are sitting in that chair where you have the authority to hire him or not. And then you go against, the others who say, no, we'll hire a person who's a ready fit because, it becomes easier for your operations. But you strongly deny that and say, no, let's give this kid an option. And then this kid becomes a super performer maybe in a year or so. That's, terribly gratifying. It's extremely gratifying. So, so the course was all about giving back. And, today when you are giving back in a different way, there is a lot of correlation. With my undergraduation, it had no relation at all. But with my post-graduation, yes, it has a lot of connect to what I'm doing presently.
Wow.
Answer the question.
Yes, that wonderfully answered answered my question. And what I'm observing about you, Miss Vani, is that there was a lot of self-awareness quite early on in the journey, wherein you had that at a tender age when you were about to pursue your masters. You knew that you can change, or you would want to change the field. Well, so many, and maybe most of our viewers would also relate to this. It's in fact personally my journey. I took 10 years to get there, to know that this is not what it is and what is it for me. So how would you say that, how were you so self-aware? How was it that you had that knowing that you'll have to change? Because from physics, and maths to social work is a big shift at that age.
I told you, Vandana, it just happened. Social work happened by chance. Mm-hmm. It was not out of choice at all. So I got in, and I'm still thankful to that principal who kind of compelled me to get in the course. But I'm very glad that this course opened. This course happened for me, and people who, my peer group who have studied with me, they're all working in maybe IT field or in other streams, but they are all envious of what I am doing in hospitality, because they feel hospitality is a happening line. Mm-hmm. And I'm very social media, savvy, and I kind of keep posting what happens at work. So they think, you're not working, you're always having fun. So my son keeps telling, I don't think so. You don't complain that you're tired, because you seem to have a lot of fun at work. So it just happened by chance, and I'm glad it happened.
Wonderful. Thank you for expressing gratitude and giving the credit to your principal or professor. Wonderful. So that brings us to the second part, and as you mentioned, that brings us to the end of part 1. If you enjoyed watching part 1, felt inspired, learned new things, please hit the like button. Also subscribe to our channel for more such interviews from people from the industry who are there to inspire you by sharing their real life experience. Now here's an update about part 2. It will be available on our channel on Friday. Make sure that you check it out for great learnings from Ms. Sengupta. Thank you for your engagement today and your participation. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep inspiring others. Wishing you all the very best for your industry career ahead. Bye.